It sounds like Dallas Goedert's time in Philadelphia is done. I know all the hype has been around A.J. Brown. Goddard had 11 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
He was awesome in the red zone. They do that little shovel misdirection stuff. And Goddard had a great year. Sounds like he's done. That to me is a shocker. Expected to hit free agency, but instantly the Philadelphia media is saying, don't worry, they've got their eyes on, wait for it, David Njoku, the tight end from the Cleveland Browns, who is a really good athlete, stretch the field kind of guy. I mean, listen, trading Goddard for Njoku, I don't think that's a loss at all. Obviously,
they're both good. They're both really good.
Yeah, they're not like elite in that McBride upper crust, but they're in the next tier, maybe tier 3. Listen, I think that's a good move. Njoku 3 seasons has 15 touchdowns, 1,600 yards. Goddard has about the exact same production in that time in terms of yards and touchdowns. So I think this would be a good trade. Now, you can't lose Goddard and not replace him. Calcaterra, the backup tight end, is fine, but he's no starter. Philadelphia is very interesting, Colin. It almost feels like it's so quiet now. You know, we're manufacturing this A.J. Brown stuff every day. There's nothing there. Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I feel like Philly, we're going to hear like something big here in the coming week.
Well, I mean, Howie Roseman, in terms of in-league personnel, is the trade GM. There's John Snyder drafts better. Howie Roseman makes more deals, and so it wouldn't surprise me.
And let me remind everybody, there was zero chatter about Trent McDuffie getting traded to the Rams, and then it happened. So the stuff the media's on, maybe not happening. The stuff that's behind the scenes, the media doesn't have that. All right, let's...
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there because JMC, essentially admitted that they're manufacturing things, but he's also wrong because about the whole Dallas got, this is shocking. No, it's not. They were talking about this last season. They weren't even sure if they were going to bring him back last season. There was the whole kind of conversation about that. And I think even Colin was kind of pushing them to be like, oh, you should move on. You should move on. You should move on. I don't think Dallas was great last season. He had a lot of touchdowns, and I had all the videos breaking that down, talking about that. That's the one thing that Kevin Patullo knows how to do. And I said, lean into it more, and I had lots of rants about that. And I said that earlier on in the season before he got to, whatever it was, 11 touchdowns. And then I talked about, though, what about some of the other plays for him? What about some of the other targets and all of that? Like, you clearly know how to utilize Dallas, so utilize him even more. But, of course, Kevin Bull and the Eagles just did not want to do that for reasons. Who knows? But, yeah, this makes sense. Dallas got production out of him, but like I'm trying to emphasize, it was so heavily schemed and organized that it wasn't just Dallas being great, that Dallas GD was just like, dude, this guy's awesome. He's snatching touchdowns in the red zone left and right. Like, it's like not quite. So I'd be convinced that if you had any type of competent tight end, you would have gotten the production. And again, I'm a Dallas Carter fan. Like, I'm not anti-Dallas at one bit. To me, he showed more of his worth actually the year before. He had a handful of really strategic moments that he was just kind of like, I'm going to body you, right? Like, I am making sure you are not going to bring me down. There was a handful of moments, against the Packers, in the playoffs. That is, this was in 24 against the Saints, I believe. I think he ended up did he get concussed that game too? But I forget, there was just a handful of moments when you were like, okay, that's the individual that is the individual. Wasn't as many moments like that this season. And, I think even in the Super Bowl of 22, he had an unbelievable catch where he's literally like leaping over the body of the defender. And it's just like, because I remember when I went back and looked at that film for that game, because everyone's like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he's got a stacked roster. And I said, there was essentially only one play that you could say that he truly benefited from the talent in terms of like they made the play, not him. And it was a Dallas throw. It was like, okay, that was clearly a great catch by Dallas. Dard, that like I can't put that on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. Like that was Dallas got it there. So like he's obviously had those moments. He's had a ton of success. He's a great tight end, but I wouldn't say that he was really making his individual presence known in terms of what Dallas Goedert individually can do, not what a tight end can do. Some of the moments that I've already mapped out. That's when I'm like, that's a Dallas Goedert moment. Throughout the course of the season, I'm like, that's just a tight end moment. And there's a difference to me. And again, the Eagles were already flirting with this and discussing this last season. So last offseason. So it's not even remotely a surprise to me, and I'm intrigued by it. Depends also, I think Njoku is a free agent though, so I'm pretty sure he is. So I don't think you need to trade, because Colin's talking about like being the trade GM or whatever. So that'll be interesting to see in terms of the price point for that. But and Joker's definitely, he's kind of a physical monster in his own right. I think he's 29. I think they're kind of around the same age, I think. So, people were kind of talking about the Eagles going for a tight end in the draft this season. It's so much speculation. And do they trade AJ Brown? What do they get with him? Do they get another first round pick? Like there is when you're a good team and you have a good foundation and you know what you're doing, having two like first round picks is like pretty enticing, pretty exciting. Again, look no further than the Philadelphia Eagles. And it wasn't even two first, but like they specifically won a Super Bowl we could talk about, and it's multiple pieces. Obviously, I always talk about this. It's never just one thing, but like, you could say getting Squan, et cetera, but like, and, even a CJ Gardner, Johnson, and Bond, but like 24, that draft, that defense, Cooper Dean Mitchell, like, Cooper D getting a literal pick six in the Super Bowl. Okay, like you can do when you know what you're doing and when you have the support, right? It's different when you have a bad team and you're struggling and then you draft a great corner or something, and then you're like, all right, that's just one piece of many that we need. But when you already have a legit foundation, you have a legitimate foundation. I mean, like, the damage that you can actually do in the draft pretty early on is quite impressive. It's quite impressive. It's harder when you're a bad team and you draft like that great tight end or something, or that great running back. It's like, yeah, you're kind of hoping that within the next couple of years you can build and then really see the greatness of said player. Like, we can use like an Ashton Genty as an example or something. But when you already have a good enough roster, that's why it's like, I think the Rams would have been able to do damage with their first round picks. But because of the timeline, because they're just kind of like, we kind of need to really go all in to win truly this year, and maybe not like a 2-3 year window. Like that makes more sense. But I still see that they could have done damage with their 2 first round picks. But obviously they opted not for that. But then that's why I ripped Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys for trading Micah after the draft. Because you sacrificed essentially this past season because you did not do good enough in the first, in this draft to be able to make a big impact. So it is intriguing that what the Eagles could potentially do here. And it does show a huge benefit of what they can do if they do trade an AJ Brown. They have multiple firsts. You add Njoku, like it's definitely intriguing. It's truly, truly intriguing. Add a new, obviously, offensive coach and all that fun stuff. What I find interesting is I'm excited to see, I'm sure Nick with the Kansas City Chiefs trade, he's going to just say nothing but positives, and which is fine, but I'm so intrigued to see when we get like another trade, like AJ Brown potentially being traded. And it's just like how that'll be probably like all doom and gloom. So I'm excited to see the contrast here. But I do think the Eagles are making moves and what they're looking for. Yeah, I still feel very optimistic about what the direction that the Eagles are going in, and kind of this evolution of what this team needs to continue to evolve and turn into. So it's the benefit of having a well-run team, right? When you're a well-run team, you navigate these situations. You know how to replace players. You know how to move on from them. You know how to get the most bang for your buck. You know how to negotiate contracts. Look at some of those other teams that just, they either fall off a cliff or they can't even get on the cliff, whether it be the Bengals, whether it be the Brown, you know, for all various reasons. You're just like they consistently fail to understand this part of the process, this part of building a team. And you know, here we are with the Eagles. So just the polar opposite of that. And that's why the whole idea of like them falling off a cliff or something like that, I you know, find it hard to believe. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles? Moving on from Dallas Goedert and looking at David Njoku, let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get some discussions, get some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next.